Don't mistake the fundamentals of powerlifting for the fundamentals of strength training. There's a difference. Here are some surefire tips to maximize your chest workout for size and strength.
So for bench press, I like feet on the ground because the barbell can tilt, and having your feet on the ground can give you some extra stability to fight that. However, when we're doing dumbbell bench press, I prefer feet on the bench versus feet on the ground or versus feet up, because putting the feet on the bench simply feels a lot more comfortable and natural to people, and I want them to be able to focus more on using their upper body, not driving from their legs, because we're not talking about powerlifting here, we're talking about strength training. The purpose of this video is to talk about the optimal bench angle for incline press, which based on the research seems to be about 30 degrees to 45 degrees in order to get that upper pec portion. Let's just use bodybuilder terms, the upper pecs, but you're also going to get a little bit more front delts as well. So this angle, this is 30 degrees according to what this bench is saying down here. You can go up to about a 45 degree. So I'm going to shoot at 40 right there. It's saying 40. I wouldn't recommend going any higher than this in regards to this angle, because research demonstrates the higher that you go beyond about 40, 45 degrees, maybe even 50, you're going to start getting more and more front. It's going to become more of a front delt exercise and less upper pec. So staying in that 30 degrees to 45 degree range, give or take a few degrees, is the sweet spot you want to be at when you're doing incline presses to maximize the involvement of your upper pecs. So the exercise I'm demonstrating right now, I developed, I call it the push-back push-up. It's a great alternative to incline presses, and the addition of the NT loop really gives you that tension throughout the range of motion. So this is how it's done. First off, the NT loop has a door anchor. It goes in the hinge side of the door. They all have that built in. Pretty cool feature. And because it's fabric, it's easier to go around, more comfortable to go around your body. So you see how I have it? All I do is I just put my whole torso inside it, right? Whole torso inside it, and then just back up as far as you want. More tension. Further back you go, the more tension you get. What you want to do is, it's not a dive bomber where your butt's not going up in the air. In fact, you keep your butt low and you push back like this. That's why it's a different movement than these sort of dive bomber type push-ups. So if you look at the angle that you're pushing at, it's like that. You're pushing into the ground in that way through your palm. That's a really nice incline press variation. It's going to be a little bit more shoulder oriented, but if you don't have dumbbells, you're training in a pinch, all you need is a door and NT loop and a little bit of can-do attitude. Give it a shot. I call these hip bridge decline presses for obvious reasons. So decline presses have been shown to not only to get basically your entire pec, even your upper pec, highly activated, so they're good. And they change the angle and things a little bit, but you don't need a decline bench. And if you've ever tried to do dumbbell presses on a decline bench, it's basically the world's hardest. You got your feet strapped in, it's the world's hardest decline sit up, right? It's a real pain. Plus, you might not have access to a decline bench. You don't need one. Just put your feet up on the bench. When you hip bridge up, look, that angle is my decline bench angle relative to my arm angle relative to my torso angle. So just go hip bridge up, focus on getting those hips up, and then boom, off you go. There you have decline presses. So what my man, personal trainer superstar here, Paul Christopher, is demonstrating is my version of a floor press. Why do I think this is better than most floor presses? Well, first off, you can see the black pad. It's one of those balance pads underneath his thoracic area that gives him more range of motion. Yeah, the regular floor press is designed to stop your range of motion, but the range of motion is so short it's barely doing anything. You need to get some stretch to get some strength and hypertrophy. So you're going low enough to where you're getting a little stretch, but not so low that it might overstretch you. So the pad's underneath the thoracic area. Secondly, if I'm doing a bench press with him and he's a real strong big guy and the bench press is up here, I have a hard time spotting it. But if he can't get it off from here, especially if I'm working with groups, I can deadlift that up. So it's a lot safer from that regard. Third, let's say the barbell's dropped or it slips. the barbell would hit him in the chest before it hits the plates, but it's not going to cut his airway off because the plates will hit the floor before it hits his throat and takes his life. And unfortunately, there's been a few instances in the gyms where that happens. So that's my preference for a floor press. So here's a hip bridge decline floor press. If you've ever done a decline bench press, first off, you need the apparatus to do it. It's awkward to get into with dumbbells, to sit yourself back on the bench and drop the bench. Get on the floor, bridge up, have the pad underneath so you have increased range of motion at your arms. If he needs a spot, I can deadlift that sucker right up. There's my decline press. No special bench or apparatus required. So this is an old school influenced exercise that I really like, that I've tweaked a little bit. I just call them side push-ups. Now, usually they were done with your hand on something or on the ground, usually on the ground, with the arm more cocked like this, so it was more tricep. What I prefer actually is to keep the elbow more bent at 90 and really follow through. Unlike most presses and push-ups, this is easiest here, right? My arm's at the top, and it's hardest there when my arm is across my body. A couple tweaks. You can experiment with keeping your knees bent. It's called crook lying position, and it gives you less counterbalance from your legs, so it's a little more advanced version. There's nothing wrong with having your legs straight like this, and you want to make sure you actually come all the way up. Try to get that elbow extended and then control it back down. So here's a way to just add some external overload to this. See, I'm holding the dumbbell in this hand. This is something I just came up with because I trained some very strong individuals and we like additional challenges. And if we were doing a lower rep day, we need something more than body weight and just messing with the counterbalance of the legs. So what I developed is you just take a smaller dumbbell, and by the way, I'm a pretty strong guy. If you go, this is a 10-pound dumbbell, it creates a lot of challenge because it's so high up on your body. So all I do is I put it on this opposite shoulder, right? Just like this, so it's out of the way of my head and it's out of the way of the path of this arm, right? Whatever you do with your legs is up to you. Obviously, if you bend your knees, it's a lot less counterbalance. So you have to experiment with that. I don't care if the legs come up, but right here. So if you see kind of from a different angle, that's how I'm holding it. More advanced version.
If you enjoyed this information, hit that like button to let us know. Plus, if you never want to miss another T Nation video again, hit subscribe and that little notification bell right next to it.